Welcome back to the Strategic Keys. Today's book is The 100 Zero Principle, The Secret to Great Relationships. This book reminds me of two others that I've read, Extreme Ownership and Influence. In Extreme Ownership, it's all about taking responsibility for everything. You are responsible for anything and everything in your life. You're the one that can affect change. You're the one that can make things better, make things worse. You've really always got to look in the mirror and accept full responsibility for anything that's happening in your life. Influence is all about the psychology of persuasion, but where the 100 Zero principle reminds me of that book is specifically in the reciprocity principle that they discuss in that book. That principle discusses if you give to one person, they will naturally want to give back to you. And that is really what leads me into the 100 Zero principle. Today's strategic key is taking 100% full extreme ownership of your relationship. See, when you do that, when you put everything into a relationship and expect zero in return, you're putting in 100, you are expecting zero. That is naturally going to lead to the other person wanting to give that same level of effort. They're going to want to put more into the relationship as well. And that's where that principle of reciprocity comes into play and that extreme ownership. See, you're taking extreme ownership of that relationship, saying this is all on me, but through reciprocity, they too will see that you are putting in that much effort. They're going to put in that much effort as well. And that is what leads to great relationships. And this concept can really be applied to all areas of your life, whether that's business, whether that's with a coworker, a business partner, colleague, a client, but also in your personal life, whether that is your spouse, your children, your family, your siblings, your parents, even friends to a certain extent. Now, here's the downside. If you keep putting in 100% and the other person never has that reciprocity, that other person never turns around and starts giving more into the relationship, depending on what that relationship is, you're either going to have to accept that it just is what it is and you're the 100 and they're the zero, or you are going to have to say, you know what, this is not worth it. I'm going to have to go ahead and cut bait and end this relationship. And that concept is discussed in the book in those different scenarios. However, I really want to look at chapter 4 and talk about that theme. See, chapter 4 tells us all about the facts of listening. Now, we all know listening is important in relationships because in relationships, we listen to the other person. We don't just hear them. But there's actually two forms of listening. There's automatic listening and creative listening. So within automatic listening, there's two sub-listening types. There is not listening and judgmental listening. Not listening is just where you are not listening. You don't care. You're not there. You're not present. Judgmental listening is where as the other person is talking, you're already thinking about what am I going to respond with? How am I going to respond? Maybe how am I going to compete with this story? I have a better story. I have a better point. It's that judgmental, yes, you're talking and yes, I'm listening, but I'm going to make a better point than you. Creative listening is what we all want to strive towards. Creative listening gives other people a chance because it puts us in control of our thoughts. We get to decide, are our thoughts in control or are we in control of listening to the conversation? It gives other people a chance to be heard. It gives other people a chance to actually build a relationship because we are listening to them. We are hearing what they have to say, not just, yeah, okay, and not just already trying to think of that response when they are talking. No, we are active. We are in the conversation. We are present in the moment. We are not going to respond until they finish talking. And when I say we give the other person a chance, what I mean is when we listen creatively, we give the other person a chance to explain to us where they're coming from, what their reality is, why they think the way they think. We have to take all those into consideration as well as understanding, how can we come together? Is this a situation where maybe there's a little bit of tension and we have to better understand where can there be compromise, what's going on in this person's life, and what experiences have they gone through that we're getting to this conversation, and how can I help? Maybe it's just listening, maybe it's just being there for them, but maybe this is some kind of tense business situation, and you've got a coworker you don't get along great with, and y'all are hashing it out, but you're listening to them, you're hearing what they have to say, and then you're able to respond in kind because you haven't drifted off, you haven't thought of a comeback or a way to one up them, but you're taking their thoughts into consideration, you're taking where they're coming from into consideration, what experiences they've had into consideration, and then you're trying to see, well, how can we come together, how can we compromise, how can we make this work? If you're looking to improve the relationships in your life, I would highly recommend the 100-0 Principle. It's pretty insightful and it's a very quick read. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and come on back for the next strategic key.